Guess who's wearing her dream dress with the matching ring? But in all seriousness, let's get into the video. So I had planned for today, yay, 100 subscribers, here's 10 facts about me, or 10 fun facts about me. But this topic is a bit more urgent. There's like a person with a leaf blower outside, so I'm sorry if you can hear that. Oh my god, it's so loud. Anyway, there are still people out there who describe Black characters as chocolate and Asian characters as almond-eyed. And then there are writers who are generally at a loss as to how to describe characters of various ethnicities. So this video is to help you provide some tips, and I'm going to include how to do this in science fiction and fantasy worlds as well. So then, first thing, describing a character as brown can be thoroughly confusing. It depends. Unless it's obvious, a white reader might see the character as another tan white person, or a black reader might see the character as another black person or another person of color. I remember reading a book when I was in junior high, and the love interest's legs were described as brown, and I was so confused because I was like flipping back through the pages like, wait, isn't she white? So you describe the character as brown, which is fine if you want them to have a specific ethnicity. I have my notes here. There are a few ways you can do it, such as describing the locality. Obviously that won't work if your book's setting is in the US, because just about anyone in the US can be a shade of brown. Giving them an ethnic surname, describing trinkets, like maybe something like jewelry or something around the house. And another thing could be maybe the way that they talk or the way that people around them talk. No matter which one of these things that you choose, they all need to be researched. Say your character is brown with a Spanish last name. So that can narrow it down to Latin American, Filipino, or Spanish as in from Spain with a tan. If you'd like to go even further using this method, your character is brown, they have a Spanish last name, you can use hair in the way of giving them, say, an afro. So if their character is brown with a Spanish last name and an afro, chances are really high that they are Afro-Latino. And there you have their ethnicity. Or you can throw in a trinket. Your character is brown with a Spanish last name, and say they have a beaded bracelet. The colors and the shape make up the flag of the Philippines. And your character is very likely Filipino. If you are describing Black characters, hair can actually work really well, especially for Black femme characters. Because you have, I listed a lot here, box braids, afros, sister locks, goddess locks, or locks in general, like Bantu knots, 1 afro puff, 2 afro puffs, braid out, blow out, twist out, cornrows, the list goes on. So those will definitely help you with your Black hair descriptions. However, when it comes to science fiction and fantasy settings in worlds that you have completely built on your own, using things like ethnic surnames won't make any sense because those countries and languages don't exist in your world. And say calling Bantu knots won't make any sense because if it's a world that you created, the Bantu people don't exist in your world either. Unless you've made a world where the Bantu people do exist, in which, have at. For example, when I was writing my first published novel, I had trouble describing Winter because she has an afro. but I couldn't call it an afro because the country of Africa does not exist in this world. To get around this, I described her hair as cloud-like, and it helps that her hair is white due to magic. But I also believed I described it as kinky. I probably also described it as coarse, like with tight, kinky, coarse curls. I described it a lot better in the book, I promise. I think in fantasy settings, it might be okay as long as it's obvious. It's okay to use terms like brown and dark brown, but if you want to get creative, there are a list of things, a list of shades from pearl to obsidian, and none of them are chocolate. I've said sand, tea, carob, coconut, onyx, bronze, sepia, sienna, pearl, obsidian, ebony, mahogany, golden brown, ruddy, tawny, olive, amber, pinecone. Her skin was pinecone brown. Probably not pinecone. Walnut, seashell, ashwood, brass, topaz, etc. I've noticed also people tend to get really hung up on describing Asian characters, and they're like, I must describe their eyes. But like, there's way more to East Asian characteristics than just their eyes. But I'll get back to that in a minute. So people like to use the term Asian eyes, but what kind of Asian eyes? Are they monolid, double lid? Is the crease in the corner of the eye, is it tapered or parallel? Are their eyes hooded? The list goes on. And please do not use the term almond eyes, because one, it's inaccurate, and two, it perpetuates the myth that all Asian eyes are the same shape. So, like I said, there's more to describing Asian characters than just their eyes. Think of it as describing literally anybody else. Do they have high cheekbones? Do they have freckles? Is their hair wavy? Is it bone straight? Is their skin pale, tan, or brown? Is their hair jet black, coal black, dark brown, sandy brown, blonde? If they dyed another color? Just a few things to think about. For those of you who are writing fantasy or sci-fi, if you haven't already, in my video, World Building 101, People and Culture, within the first 3 minutes of the video, I talk about building a race of people using characteristics such as hair texture, nose shape, and skin color, and how geography will affect those attributes. So I think that's all I have for you guys today. If you have any questions or want me to elaborate further, or just anything in general, comment below. I guess that's it. Bye!